Alright. Let me start off by apologizing for last week. I really didn't expect a sudden delivery in the middle of the night. I'm not expecting anything now, so we are going to get right to it. We're going to get to the worst toy in the Armada line, one of the most infamous lines ever. We're going to go to... I'm sorry. We're finally going to cover the most requested Plastic Addict victim. We are going to cover Armada No, not again. We've already deleted this once. It's the one everyone wants to see. They've been waiting for it. I can't put it off. Son of a bitch! Ugh. So here we have Energon Wingsaber, a toy that I actually like, despite having absolutely everything against it. Now, the first thing we will notice is it's supposed to be a stealth bomber, or a flying wing of some kind. You know, it's a pretty hefty one for that. Now, you can see that by the wing design. You see the painted apps there? Yeah, that creates the illusion of one long flying blade, which, you know, I can appreciate a little trick of the eye in any toy. It doesn't quite work, however, when you're carrying this much under kibble. Yeah, you see, there's the front of the plane, there's all the kibble underneath. There is no way this is aerodynamic or a flying wing in the least. In fact, I'm pretty sure my aerodynamics would say this thing would flip forward if it tried to fly at high speed. Now, you got some nice details. The cockpit's in translucent red, and it makes it come through the silver paint very nicely. It's actually very well painted. The problem is, there's not a whole lot you can do here. I mean, yeah, it's a big flying block. But there isn't any gimmick to activate like most toys. There's just this, and a couple firing missiles. Woo! Okay, I know these days it's a little rarer, but back in Energon, missiles were about as special as having eyes. It really didn't do anything, it wasn't really special. And really, that's all the vehicle mode's got going for it. I mean, aside from that, it looks like a flying Tetris block. Okay, granted, it's got a little blade on the front, but it still looks like it should be falling down a tunnel, not fighting Decepticons, and not trying to be stealthy. Now, it's got some alright details. You got the stabilizer fins right here. I'm not quite sure what those are supposed to be. They kind of flows back, so I guess they're turbines or whatever those things were that Jetfire had. On the back, you've got the thrusters. I assume that all this is thrusters. To be honest, it looks like they stuck the chest of a robot onto the back of a jet. I'll bet you can't guess why it looks like that. In fact, that's another thing going against this toy. There isn't much disguising here. I'll give you a hint. You can see most of the robot mode right now. That aside, there are a few details I like about the toy. Like I said, I really like the cockpit area. This is very well detailed. They did have the thought enough to do the landing gear correctly. What I really like is just how heavily armed this thing is. Yeah, missiles are no big deal, but it's got these huge guns on the side that I really like. It looks like something out of Star Wars or something. But it makes it really beefy and more like a gunship than a flying wing. which actually it should work better. Well, now, you see, that I could get behind. I mean, he makes an awful stealth fighter, but, you know, with all the guns, he does make a pretty impressive gunship. I mean, he kind of looks like one of those, like, little spaceships, like in a NES vertical shooter, you know, where you're just flying around back and forth, shooting enemies coming from the top of the screen. You know, one of those, you know, like, bunch of attachments on, and that, and, you know, it kind of looks like one of those, which is really cool. I mean, he's like big gunship. Oh, God, what am I saying? I'm complimenting this thing. Okay, go to robot mode. Go to robot mode. I've got to have something to rail on. Now we're going to take a look at the robot mode, which looks surprisingly nice. That will change quickly. Yeah, he's got a ton of detail, a lot of paint apps, and a lot of actually nice detailing, and none of that is worth complaining about. What is worth complaining about is absolutely everything else about this figure. The most unfortunate thing are the arms. You see that? That and that is about all the arm articulation you can get. You can rotate his wrist, but that's the only bonus point. I mean, the elbows can't even bend all the way up. That's it. That's as much range as you get. This is going to make him the most inefficient robot on the battlefield of all time. He cannot raise his arms in the least. There's just absolutely nothing he could do. I mean, you can't even stick an Energon weapon in him. He's not going to be able to use it. And apparently they knew this because they allowed him to keep his missile launchers, if you don't mind literally shooting from the knee, which is actually looks insanely moronic. I cannot understand why. You've got a little bit more articulation. You can spread his hips out like that. So he's got one pose in him, but that's about it. Because of the real function of this toy, everything down the middle is pretty much static. You can't move the neck, you can't move the waist, and because of said functions we will see in a minute, you can't move the shoulders at all. You also don't get any knees because of the same reason. The sad thing is, as nice as the toy looks, I mean, it's got less articulation than most Generation 1 toys. I mean, he can't even, you know, if he had a gun, he wouldn't be able to raise it. He can't throw a punch. You know, just doing this, he can probably tickle an enemy to death, but that's about it. I mean, I get it. I mean, he's supposed to be a new Star Saber, which, you know, I really like the old Star Saber. It's one of the toys I always wish they did, and he's a pretty nice homage to that. I mean, he's got the form, the high shoulders, the head design's kind of similar, and he does a really nice job. It's like, oh, God, I'm doing it again. What's wrong with me? What is this toy doing to me? I'm supposed to be the plastic head. I'm supposed to hate this thing. There's every reason to hate this thing. Okay, I gotta get a grip here. What is wrong with me? Why do I like this toy? No matter what I do, no matter how many flaws I bring up, I cannot help but like this toy. I mean, yes, it's very well detailed. It looks great, and I love an homage to a Japanese character. But come on, seriously. They can't do anything. He can just stand there and look nice. I mean, even with so little going on, he still has most of his jet on his back. Oh, it's no use. I mean, I still like it. I don't know why. I mean, it's just so nice, and the detailing is done so well, and the colors, they work very well. It just goes together. It makes a nice Star Saber homage. No, I won't let the critic ruin you anymore. No, I must not let him hurt you anymore. We won't let the bad addict talk about you anymore. Wait, you can't defend him. He's a toy without any play quality. He's a Star Saber homage. He likes a Star Saber homage. Yeah, and at least Star Saber could raise his shoulders. That's not the point. Yes, it is. We both know he was made only for one thing. No,
We won't let you do that!
It's evil! I won't let it control me!
You can't take our breast!
Don't! This is a subtle parody.
It belongs to us!
You have to go back to where you were meant to be. Behold the magic. Two awful toys combine into something positively epic. This is Wing Optimus, and it's the only way you should ever be playing with Wingsaber. Well, actually not, but more on that in a little bit. You can see, compared to his normal combined mode, Optimus doesn't lose any of the articulation. His knees still work. His shoulders still work. He gets elbows that work. He actually gains wrist articulation. And all the gimmicks and lights still work. Yes, this is a toy that, when combined, improves in articulation. Not only that, it improves dramatically in how solid he looks. It's not like a Voltron or Power Ranger toy anymore. You've got prime red on the arms and prime blue on the legs. You've got a very, very hefty toy. Now, as cool as this looks, it is top heavy. It is very easy for him to fall over. Yes, your lights work, we see that. And it's also very easy for him to give out in certain joints, especially on the hips. But really, it's worth it. This is awesome. And it's the only thing Wingsaber was really designed to do. And you look on here on the back, everything flows together very nicely. Everything fits. Everything was taken into account solely to combine with Optimus Prime, hence why the toy has absolutely no playability on its own. Now you see, he had this down long before Movie Prime ever thought to do this. Oh, but wait, we're not done yet. Here we have Artillery Mode. Yes, two ways of combining two crappy toys to come up with something absolutely awesome. And this is my preferred way of combining them. You get all those nice cannons and guns that Wingsaber had in the vehicle mode. The only reason I liked the vehicle mode, if you remember. Except Optimus here can fully kick your ass with them. He's got a few different ways you can pose him. He's got all the articulation he did in the previous modes. Well, he sacrifices wrist articulation, but he gains a rotation at the elbow to make up for it. So this, again, he actually gains articulation from some of his other forms. That is a great... Yes, we see. Your light still works. It's a phenomenal piece of engineering, and you can see why so much was sacrificed from Wingsaber's toy. He was really only meant to be a shirt and pants for Optimus Prime. And let's face it, he's a pretty damn nice shirt and pants. I mean, isn't this how we always wanted Optimus to go into battle, with huge ass guns blazing, ready to beat the living hell out of any Decepticon? The only contention I take are the feet. He's more stable in this mode than he was in the Wing mode, but it looks like he's wearing knockoff Nikes. Kind of like the ones that I wear, now that I think about it. So, unless you really have something against his footwear, this is what you should be doing with all of your Wingsabers. So what have we learned from all this? Well, we learned that Wingsaber is definitely not a toy to own all on its own. See, unfortunate as it is, it's got a horrible vehicle mode and a robot mode that honestly doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, once you have Energon Prime, he's great. Except that's all he was designed for. I mean, if you don't own the big fat clunker that is Energon Fatimus, then really you don't have any reason to buy Wingsaber. I mean, yeah, he's rare and he looks nice, but you know what? In the end, it's a toy. And you have to be able to play with a toy, not just stare at it because it looks all nice and fancy. So on its own, skip it. If you've got Prime, great. Otherwise, who needs a Star Saber homage? I'm the Plastic Addict. I stay addicted so you... Oh, great.